Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into the government conspiracies. What are they hiding from us? What do they know that we don't? What are they keeping from you? Why are they not sharing with us the secrets of the universe? I'm Lucid Rob, and if this is your first time here, like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you want to see in the next video. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, daddy.
What the?
These 4 government secrets were never meant to get out, and the last one will leave you speechless. First, MK Ultra. This covert CIA project aimed to develop mind control techniques through drugs, hypnosis, and torture. Thousands of unsuspecting citizens were subjected to experiments without their consent. Number 2, Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the US secretly hired Nazi scientists to work on weapons and space programs. These men had dark pasts, but America looked the other way. Number 3, Area 51. The government didn't even admit it existed until 2013. Rumors of alien tech, secret aircraft, and otherworldly experiments still haven't been answered. And now, the most shocking, the Philadelphia experiment. Allegedly, the Navy conducted an experiment to make a warship invisible. Instead, it resulted in horrific consequences, with crew members suffering from severe side effects, including disappearing and reappearing in strange places. Which secret shocked you the most? Comment below with your thoughts.
I was able to go into restricted areas, which this was, and I walked into a photo lab, which was the NASA lab across the hallway. At the time, I was talking to one of the techs in there, and he drew my attention to a photograph, a NASA photograph, and this was an aerial photograph of the Earth. I'm assuming the Earth because it had pine trees on it, and the shadows of the craft or whatever it was were in the same angle as the trees. And by its very nature, UFO, and I wanted to clarify that to a gentleman that was talking to me, means unidentified. So I did not know what this was. But I realized at this point that it's very secret, that it was kept secret, because I asked him, what are you going to do with this piece of information? And he said, we always airbrush these out before we sell them to the public. After that, I decided I would ask questions to other people. A guard told me that he was asked to burn some photographs and not to look at them. And there was another guard guarding him, who was in green fatigues, watching him burn the photographs. And he said he was too tempted. He looked at one, and it was a picture of a UFO. And he was very descriptive. I can go into that later with anyone. He immediately was hit in the head, and he had a big gash in his forehead. He was knocked out, and he was terrified, so he would have to be protected. So I do want to let you know that I worked out there for a number of years, and I ran into this. So it's not something everyone knows that works out there for a long time. My boss didn't know about it. Some people that sat right next to me didn't know about it. It's very strange, because I don't know how they can do it, but they can let some people know about it and then others not. I'm willing to testify before Congress that what I'm saying is true, and thank you very much.
Dude, the thought of that is so crazy. What if your job as the guard being told, like, all right, your job is to make sure this guy burns these photos but doesn't look at them. And that's all you have. That's all the knowledge you have. And then that guy is like, your job is to burn these photos and not look at them. Like, this shit is so secretive that they have to take, like, each step. Each small detail has to have a person designated just to that task, just so they have the most, like, the smallest amount of knowledge possible on the task at hand or the topic at hand or whatever's happening at the time. That's nuts, dude. That is, like, top level shit to make sure that nobody knows anything about what's going on.
You know how people say life doesn't feel real ever since 2020?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's because it isn't. For the decades leading up to 2020, there was something going on that the general public never could have expected. Certain aspects of our technology weren't only just providing services for us, they were planning a dramatic shift of consciousness. Google Earth, for the last 25 years, has been creating a completely digitized, three-dimensional blueprint of the entire planet, a perfect database of 3D tracked images of what our external world looks like. While all of our devices that were inside the home, riddled with cameras, have been slowly building back-end digitized replicas of what our households look and feel like. Silently, this siphoned visual information was being harnessed to build a massive digitized replica of our world inside and out, a kind of complex virtual reality that perfectly mimics the real one. Our digital footprints were used to create hyper-realistic digital avatars in this world that look and feel just like us. This virtual reality was being...
So when people think about simulation theory, they're like, how is it possible? I'm like, well, literally your the Wi-Fi signal in your house from your router distributing the connection to your phones and devices literally creates an outline, like a silhouette and an outline of everything within your home, which can be used to then create an image that you can look at. Not you, but someone can look at it. Someone that understands how to do that can look at it and literally see like the entire interior of your home and where you are and what you're doing at all times. And that's everywhere. Those signals are everywhere on the planet. And especially now with Starlink, those signals are being distributed everywhere over the planet. And on top of Google Maps creating an actual visual representation of the outdoors, all of the data and information we're uploading online from the inside of structures, outside of structures, through our selfies and travel and vlogs and videos and stuff, like all of this information is being compiled on the internet. So in reality, we have a real-time, true to scale, reconstructed world of the world that we live in right now. And depending on who has access to that information, who's to say what they're going to do with it? But it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you just got to live your life anyways, because even if the consequences to your actions are fake, because the whole simulation is fake, they're still very real to you and very real to us. So just be a good person, treat others with respect, do what you can to do good in life, be healthy, live long, live free, be happy, all that stuff.
As presidents and politicians, it was awkward. But there was something else odd going on. It was noticed that several of the globalist political players received an unexpected letter inside of their program. Hillary Clinton was the only one who kept her poker face when looking at the mysterious letter. Former Vice President Joe Biden appeared to be distressed when his wife found his. Laura Bush had a look of anger and could barely keep from staring at hers. And when she showed it to Jeb Bush, as his deceased father was being carried in front of him, he was distressed enough to take his hand from his heart, and he looked rather troubled by what he saw. The internet is abuzz with what these mystery letters are all about. Many who hope to see justice served in our corrupt American system speculate that this could be a foreboding message to America's traitorous first families. One can only hope. Whatever they were, they certainly appear to be disturbing to those who received them.
Bro, that'd be some savage mafia type shit if at the funeral of former President Bush that they were like sending out letters like a warning or like a threat even to these people. That's wild. I'm all for it. I mean, hey, if someone's doing some nasty shit and it's like corrupt and it's just did things in their lifetime that are just like awful, and you basically use the scenario as an example and like a warning to the people, like, yeah, man. Yeah. And people need to learn how to act right. I feel no remorse for these people.
I read that you felt that the government was deliberately spraying cold germs in subways, was deliberately trying to make people ill with the AIDS virus. This is pretty serious stuff. Do you really feel that?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I'm with Barbara Walters now. Oh, that's a serious one. Okay, so I got to, now, because people are going to chase me after this. People are going to chase me. I believe that it is quite highly possible that the AIDS virus is a result of genetic warfare testing.
By American agents?
Absolutely.
Well, why?
Am I a conspiracy theorist? I'm a conspiracy theorist, aren't I?
People are going to look at that clip and say that her reaction was like, Will, what did you just do? Like, what did you just do to yourself? What did you just do? Why'd you have to go and do that? That wasn't smart. As opposed to her real reaction that was probably just like, that's far-fetched. That's crazy. Because that's how our minds work as conspiracy theorists. But I try to look at both sides. And, I mean, yeah, I think he's definitely a shill nowadays. Will Smith, he's definitely like a shill for the message. And I think he's lost his stuff a little bit, with like in his like toxic relationship with his wife and all that stuff. But it's nice to know that rationality and that like ability to question what's happening is in there somewhere. Let's hope he hadn't lost it completely.
Here are a list of all of the movies the Pentagon oversaw and contracted with Hollywood on. For those who don't know, the Pentagon has a Department of Defense Entertainment Media Office. From their website, the DoD Entertainment Media Office supports studios, production companies, producers, directors, etc. SAG-AFTRA in the production of both scripted and unscripted films. According to the documentary Theaters of War, the US DoD does not just subtly influence Hollywood's depiction of US wars to present them in a more favorable light. The Pentagon actively demands script oversight and dictates storylines. In practice, it has been waging a full-spectrum propaganda war on Western audiences. The Pentagon's objections usually relate to any suggestion of military incompetence or war crimes. Back in 2013, Dr. Stephen Underhill of Marshall University filed with the Freedom for Information Act to obtain all of the movies that the Pentagon has supervised on. Some of them were surprising. I'm going to list them page by page. Feel free to take screenshots.
Always stoop as low as you can and appeal to people's basest instincts.
Greg Renrich, that was one of the things that he told me. He's the one that was talking about seeing the giants in the deep underground military bases. He said that one of the first things that they had to do before he was allowed to go into S4 or S20 or any of the others, they made him sign an affidavit saying, you're not allowed to use the name Jesus Christ in these underground facilities, not even if you stub your toe or anything. And he said that he saw 10 to 25 foot tall giants in these underground bases and said that they were, human scientists and other people working side by side with them. He said that they even came right out and said they were the Nephilim.
Viewers, you don't know who the cameraman is. You don't know why you're being made to see these things. Neither do I. You're seeing me. I can't even see you. I may be dead by the time you watch this. Very possibly are. You don't know it's the man who's making things he wants you to see. Destroy your television sets now. You must listen to no orders. That's all I can tell you for this point in humanity. Believe me.
Nick Bostrom, and you can hypothesize that if we have the ability to create a world in a computer, and the characters in that world think they have free will, then how do you know you're not one of those characters that are created? Now, if they have free will and they invent computers, and they want game time, they might create a computer world within their computers. Right. And if they think they have free will,
and they could do the same thing.
And it's that all the way down.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm simplifying his argument, but this is the essence of it. Close your eyes and throw a dart. Which universe are you most likely to hit? One of these simulated universes or the one real one that started them all? And so that's a terrifying prospect.
That's a frightening question.
Frightening question that the Matrix sits in the middle of.
Yeah.
In the middle.
All your computer screens are blue lit. The reason none of them are red lit, the reason none of them pay attention to circadian biology is because that original technology was developed in a government program that Bobby Kennedy knows about, and I happen to know about because I went to medical school at LSU. For those of you who've never heard about Operation Paperclip, you think it's all conspiracy theory. So at Tulane Neurology and Tulane Neurosurgery in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, the CIA started a program there where they would do all these crazy things to monkeys. The CIA wanted to see how they could control things utilizing different things like drugs and things like that. Where the neurosurgeons got involved, which is my clade, we would drill tops of the heads off, put wires into the thalamus, put electricity in there, and kind of see what kind of behavioral changes we could have. One of the guys that was in that program was a guy named Professor Delgado. When he saw that we could control the behavior with the wired device, he said, what if we do it wirelessly? So he checked it in monkeys and checked it in bulls, and it turned out you can do it wirelessly with RFID chips and semiconductors. Then the CIA took it to the next level. They said, well, since this is electromagnetic radiation, what if we did it through light through screens? And it turns out you can. And that's the reason why all your computer screens have the frequencies they have. So why is this all important? Well, the person that set this meeting up between me and Bobby is the patent attorney that made sure that Google and Meta have those things so they can control the things that we all do. Where did the original idea come from that started off in MK Ultra with the CIA? You're going to be surprised when you hear this. It came from the mafia in Las Vegas. They wanted to build a new city in a desert. They enclosed it all, blacked out the windows, invented slot machines that were blue lit. And they found out that they didn't have to take a gun, stick it in your face to steal your money. Then they even got smart. They said, let's give people free alcohol while they're doing that. And they found out they got the money quicker. And that's when the CIA got the idea to start this program. That's really how it started.
And that also explains why, even though alcohol is so destructive, arguably more destructive than a lot of drugs even, because it is one, but why it's still legal and pushed so hard and is basically like you get looked at in a stranger way when you tell someone you don't drink as you do when you tell someone you do drink. And that's nuts. That's crazy to me because it lowers your inhibitions. And then on top of that, on top of the constant waves of marketing and advertising and propaganda, having your inhibitions lowered, being a little dumber, being a little open to suggestion from alcohol and things, yeah, you're going to spend money. You're going to commit a little easier. You're going to submit a little easier. You're going to not really care in the moment as much as you would if you stopped and thought about it with a clear mind. They know what they're doing.